Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents. Well, there are over 200,000 of them, representing over 400 designs, and it's fair to say that Angelenos have had a love affair with them for many decades. I'm talking about LA street lamps, and I'm delighted to be joined today by the new director of the Bureau of Los Angeles Street Lamps, Miguel Sangalang. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me as well.
We kind of talk about street lamps and everything like that, but what's the scope of the Bureau of Streetlights?
Sure. If you were to talk about the specific scope, I mean, in charter, it's to maintain the street light infrastructure of the city on behalf of its residents. I think, though, that ever since the beginning of the Bureau, it's been far more than that, more than meets the eye. You can see that the very first time we had street lights, there was a transformative change in how we approached public safety, and we thought that was a much safer than more illuminated city. Made night a much more pleasant time to be around and walking around the city. Now we actually see it kind of changing in the technology that we're applying more around connectivity, and so it's been a way for us to install new technologies like 4 and 5G infrastructure that will help accelerate our reach and our bandwidth and space around what we can do on the internet. So lots of different things happening right now.
Using technology, the 5G technology, expanding the infrastructure, safety, and everything like that. So what are some of the things that are really on your front of page that you want to address quickly?
Sure. I think it's been broad stroke kind of categorized as smart city, but actually there's many different facets to that, and we've been helping many of the different departments in the city on Vision Zero. So we've worked on transitional lighting, and that is an aspect where we actually have an area of the city where after events, pre-COVID, after events, we would actually make areas brighter. And so, in that, we would make it safer for pedestrians who were walking across the street, for motorists to see them as well. Then it would dim back once everything was done. We have technologies now that we're deploying that will help us kind of mash up satellite information with street-level sensors. So satellite information from JPL will be mashed up with our information at the ground level to give us better insights on the air quality that we actually breathe. And that'll help policymakers make decisions on what we should be doing in the future as well. So lots of different things that we're attaching to our poles. It's far more than what, again, I mentioned earlier, the charter just says maintain the street lights, but far more because it's a vertical piece of infrastructure that everybody wants to have a little bit of play with, to be honest.
You just made me think of something. Okay, so let's take this just into the hypothetical sci-fi world. You're talking about large-scale events, which happen in Los Angeles all the time. We definitely have the Olympics coming, assuming that the world is a place in which that is going to be able to be possible.
Very soon.
Very soon. I know. Well, we're doing good if we can make sure that the rest of the planet also catches on. But so, literally, you can put the dimmer switch up to full so that it's well light. Is that possible, say, in areas you used to be used to having the helicopter spotlight come down when something dramatic has happened? Is it even possible in the future to maybe create an environment where you can, turn the lights up bright in an area in which something is, a crisis is occurring? Maybe it's a fire, maybe it's an earthquake issue. Well, if there's an earthquake, there might be problems with that, or a crime or something?
When it comes to public emergencies, I think that's where some of the smart city aspects will help. Wouldn't it be great if in the future, if with all of our smart nodes, if there's a tsunami warning, instead of just looking at the road for the static sign, you can actually see the flashing lights on the street lights as well. So many things that we can kind of apply technology to resolve some of those issues. I think much of that still has to be formulated in policy and what we're trying to achieve. And we also have to kind of refresh our entire infrastructure. So we have an aging infrastructure that we have to deal with right now. We're hoping to refresh it. We're working on pilot programs to do that, and then also looking at kind of future strategies to try and turn that over as well.
Okay, so you talked about safety, but then there's also light pollution. So I would imagine that those two things, because not only are we supposed to be a smart city, we're supposed to be a green city. So balancing those two things out, what are some of the things that will help illuminate and create a safe environment, but at the same time understand that what we do affects the planet at large?
Yeah, and I think the Bureau has had a history of that, and And I'm very happy to have interacted with the Bureau in many different ways and different roles before, and supporting some of the work that we've been able to achieve. So over the past 10 years, we've had our LED lighting retrofit program that changed our high-intensity discharge lights to very energy-efficient lighting, LED lighting. And that has been a great reduction. It's almost like taking over 60,000 cars off the road and saving $10 million a year. So it's been a great savings that have then allowed us the space to do more of the smart city things that we'd like to do because we have spare capacity and energy. I think that to what you're asking when you talk about light pollution, I think that's where we're looking at the greatest amount of flexibility, very similar to transitional lighting where we're kind of making it brighter for times that require it. We have over time changed the light temperature so that it is less impactful to the larger environment as well. So lots of different changes that require flexibility that we are hoping greater technology adoption and use will help us manage over time.
Okay, so let's talk about the lamps themselves for Monica. That was a light installation that had to be moved, so it was originally in a parking lot, was it not?
Yeah, and now we've moved it to very close to our main yard at Santa Monica and Lyman. It's actually across a branch library at Coanga, and so we worked with the artist to rededicate it last December, and now we are able to kind of show it and display it. We hope to have a bigger fanfare about it and hope to light it up really well in the near future. Because
we all know Urban Lights, which is in front of LACMA, because if you ever drive up in Elm Wilshire, if you're allowed, when there's no construction. But this also kind of represents the legacy of Los Angeles and the lamps from the different environs that represent the diversity and the, just the vast interesting qualities of the city.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it shows a great progression from 1925 onward to the history of Los Angeles. So it's a great Instagrammable, just like Urban Lights, place to go to.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the now. I was fascinated to learn that because there's so much infrastructure already provided in a street lamp, that it is possible that even in the future, they may, and I'm using quotes around the word may, be able to help with Los Angeles and the digital divide.
Clearly during the pandemic, there was a widening digital divide that we can see. And one of the strategies that ended up happening was the use of Wi-Fi hotspots, right, from the different carriers, right, and distributing that to children that would otherwise not have access. Well, those Wi-Fi hotspots are connected to infrastructure that are attached to our streetlights and other public facilities, and so it was very important for us to accelerate that as well. So, you can't bridge the divide if you only have one piece of the puzzle there. And so we've been very much accelerating. We actually accelerated our 4 and 5G permitting about 2,600% over the last few years to try and accelerate that.
What are some of the priorities on your list to make sure even the most rudimentary safety is put into place when it comes to street lamps?
We're working hard to make sure that the service requests coming out from our residents, we're completing them as fast as we can. It's been a bit of a challenge with the pandemic and what that has brought up for operational change, but still trying to change how we do our work in order to achieve the goals that we want to. I think thinking about our assets strategically, thinking about what we would like in the future, would we like better information and better sensors to share with our sister bureau and departments.
If we hadn't touched on something that people want to find out about, maybe if they just literally want to report an outage light, a light that's out, or offer suggestions for their neighborhood, or somehow get involved with what's happening with the bureau, what's the easiest and most streamlined way for them to get in touch?
I think you can always reach us through the MyLA 311 app. You can always reach us by calling 311. You can reach us at bsl.lacity.org and our social media accounts, and we'll respond.
Well, it was so much fun to talk to you, and thank you for being a good sport and allowing me to be so personal, even though we just met.
Oh, of course. Thank you. This has been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Miguel.
Thank you, Maria.
And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.